Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's approximately 1:55 p.m. and you join us here on Kart Chaser on YouTube. You might be joining us here at K1 Whiteland Circuit. If you're joining us there, good afternoon. If you're joining us on YouTube, thanks for joining in here for the free coverage. It's the afternoon sessions here of the Indy Karting Challenge here. We're running the number 73R layout, which has been exciting. If you didn't join us this morning, first of all, what were you doing? Second of all, you missed some absolutely amazing racing. That 206 Light final was amazing, beyond amazing. And if you're a Kart Chaser premium member, well, you can go back and watch the action after this afternoon's races. If you're not, I'm sure there'll be some clips on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube Shorts accordingly. It's gonna be myself, Brad, here in the booth with Jackson. Jackson, West Coast, best coast, sir. But I have to say, after this morning's racing, you might want to move to Whiteland, Indiana, because it's been wild today.
It's been a good showing so far. As you mentioned, the Masters and the Lights putting on a phenomenal show. But you look at what we've got on deck here, Brad, with the micros and minis coming out on track, more 206 galore running from the mediums to the juniors to the legends and the supermasters. And then we end on some KA seniors and masters. So soul food, it's going to be a good showing no matter where you look. And I am so stoked for us to take to the track here for micro and mini qualifying in just about 3 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's touch on how the process is going to work for this afternoon. It's the same format we did this morning. It's going to be 5 minutes of qualifying for each class, 5 minutes of heat plus 2 laps for each class, and then a 10-minute finale to send things off with a small break in between. So, looking at how things are going to go, it's going to be such a good run here. And of course, the first run here on the day, it is micro and mini now. We saw a lot of the micro mini drivers going through this morning running in the 206 cadet and 206 sportsman classes. So there will be some names here throughout the afternoon that you recognize from the morning. And I tell you what, they're going to be happy this afternoon as well because the weather has stuck to what it was this morning. The weather here in Whiteland, Indiana, it is a nice, cool 67 degrees. And to tell you what, I don't know what it is about this switch that is flipped with the weather with fall being here, but it feels like fall has officially arrived. And I said it this morning, but PSL season is here. And if you don't know what PSL season is, well, I worry that you are not the right crowd for that joke to begin with. So, with that being said, it's the weather's perfect. I don't know that you could ask for a better Saturday to kart. Of course, this is round 9. There is no racing tomorrow here for this K1 circuit, the Whiteland, the Indy Karting Challenge. There is not round 10 tomorrow. You got to wait a month for round 10. It will not be until the first weekend of October. So round 9 is what we're running here today. Round 10 will be next month. But if you are local to Whiteland, you can come out and race tonight, tomorrow. They got kart rentals open. Come on, come hang out. With that being said, Paraco countdown to green is at 60 seconds. Jackson, after what we saw this morning, what's your expectations for this afternoon?
Same things out driving. We saw before the lunch break. Absolutely. I mean, these guys have learned a lot. What's going on, Justin, as he works his way over on the scooter to the flag start? Dude, he's been kicking our butt in the commentary booth on the electric scooter. Just watching him go in between the actual stripe and the start zone at the end of Indy. It's been so funny. Oh my gosh. So I'm expecting that as we go over to Justin Cam now.
Does Justin know that we're talking about him?
Look, we've got two really, really phenomenal drafting zones that are setting up opportunities deep on the brakes, a couple of tight technical complexes. I'm most excited for micro and mini out the bat, no matter where you look at where those karts are, regardless of type of club, national, regional level. It's always such a good showing with those karts. They're small. They only make a little bit of power. There's a great mix of that drafting, like group packing aspect you'd see kind of like at Talladega or the likes. So once we set the field here and get to the heat later on, going to be a very, very good showing. Karts out on track now for the mini and micro Qualifying, and again, it's going to be a shared field here. So multi-class madness coming our way. AJ Loon, the first one out on track, as well as Lane Gibbs, Raider Santos, Dane Van Dyke, Macy Galan, Elliot Cox. And returning is indeed Kevin Simonellic alongside Abram Dean and Joshua Nelson. Mini Swift, Blake Martinez out in front. It's been a return of that 206 sportsman battle in the championship with Martinez versus Light Simonellic. And a quick look over to the micro side of things. James Fox with a comfortable 200-point lead over Diesel Maxwell, who we just now see checked in. There's our updated box. They're going to be interesting to see is also Kaysen Hendrickson switches over to the micros as well.
This is one of those that I'm kind of with you on this. Micro and Mini, I think, is one of the very exciting classes for me, along with KA Junior. Those three classes tend to really put on shows in a lot of different ways. Micro and Mini, one of the things that excites me about them is these are the youngest drivers in the sport. Again, 206 Cadet and Sportsman are the similar age groups. Micro Swift is 7 to 10, Swift is 8 to 12. So these are drivers that are, some of them are still honing their craft. Some of them are still learning how to run a go-kart around a track, and you get to watch their improvement through these classes. And it's so much fun because I can tell you right now, there are drivers, especially I'm thinking of MCC specifically here. There are drivers that came to MCC and were multiple seconds a lap off the pace at the start of the year back in March, April, May when they started running. And now they're competitive up in the front. So getting to see that growth in these classes year over year is amazing. It does sometimes result in a little bit larger of a lap spread than what you would expect, and a little bit more of a time spread going through. But this is where it starts. This is the fun of these regional events, of the grassroots events, as we call them here at Kart Chaser. It's getting to watch drivers really hone in at their local track, learn their craft before they step up to the national events and they start taking on those national events and showing up to the national events and really making their names known. This is where you get to know it, and this is where you hone your craft. And it's so exciting to watch Micro and Mini go through. Right now, fastest times, Kaysen Hendrickson in the Mini, 45.518. Diesel Maxwell in the Micro, 47.162.
So it's a 4-2 class split right now with 4 minis out on track, 2 micros. And the micros making a little bit less power. It's the same IAME Swift engine, but a little bit more of a restrictor, a little larger air restrictor on those micro karts, and those micro karts are also just a smidge lighter. Not a huge difference between the two, but it's meant for the younger kids just stepping up from the kid karts. But looking out on track, Kaysen Hendrickson, his first start, mind you, in the minis here at Whitelands, and has come out of the gate swinging. 45.384 over Blake Martinez and Light Simonellic, with Diesel Maxwell over Patrick McNeely right now for that micro pull. It's automatically kind of sorted itself out so far.
It has. And looking at the championship standings right now, it's kind of interesting to see where this lands, because right now Kaysen Hendrickson is 4th place in the Mini Swift standings, but is currently the fastest kart out on track. Blake Martinez has had a slew of podium places and 3 wins on the run here. Is at 1378 points. Liat Simonellic is at 1308. Christopher Heinzen 1065, and then Kaysen Hendrickson is at 713 for the Mini Swift category. So these 4, it's gonna be interesting to kind of see how they play things out here in Micro Swift. The points right now, James Fox, who isn't here this weekend, is currently leading the points here with Diesel Maxwell at 1314. James Fox is at 1,500 points though, and his drops, to give you an idea of how well he's done, his drops are a 2nd place finish and a 4th place finish. Everything else has been 1st or 2nd. He hasn't had a finish outside of the top 4. So he has had great runs there. Diesel Maxwell is in 2nd place and Patrick McNeely is in 3rd. There are 2 points separating Diesel Maxwell, Patrick McNeely. So by the numbers, they should both jump James Fox this weekend in points, which is interesting considering after this weekend, we have 3 rounds left.
So it's crunch time for these championships. And the Burrell ART of Kaysen Hendrickson is getting it started on the best of feet right now with a monster 45.342 over Blake Martinez, almost 3/4 of a second up. And with a track as small as Whiteland's, that is an eternity. So great stuff there from Racing Kaysen. And the two Diesel Maxwell on pole for the micros, just a smidge over Patrick McNeely.
Great runs to see from everyone here as they continue along. It's been an interesting morning, and one of the things that we saw this morning that I will remind everyone of, if you're looking and you see these gaps, the qualifying gaps are not a clear indication of race pace, do not guarantee race pace. The races have been absolutely wild, and keeping it together has been the main key as we release our next class out on track, 206 medium.
First 206 class of the afternoon. What do we mean by medium? Ages 15 up. That'll be ballasted out to about 365 pounds. Here's how your championship is looking for the time being. Brandon Haber, who we watched absolutely dominate this morning in the KA seniors, has been very strong out in front for 14-16 over the 14:08 of Evan McCorkadale. Levi Wilbur in the mix as well. But with drop rounds considered, you've got this entire first three positions in the championship within about less than 100 points of one another. So we talk about this being crunch time in the championship. This is a great example of that.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one to watch. Again, names here that you should recognize from this morning. Cutshaw, Knotzman, McCorkindale, Heber, Wilbur. They're names from this morning that, if they remember how this morning went right before we went through, it's going to be interesting to see how they run these 206 mediums through, because this morning they had a good showing. They had a good showing. Justiano, again, a driver from this morning. So if you think about that, that's going to be an interesting one to watch. And I have a feeling that if you're Heber, you're going to get raced a bit harder today than you did this morning after, again, if you missed this morning, I'm sure there's going to be a clip of it on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube Shorts.
Oh, yeah.
It was wild.
Quick reminder while we're on the subject of that, reminder that you can follow us at Kart Chaser for all of our national level stuff, at KC Grassroots for our regional stuff, not just here, but other regional events that we cover all across the nation, such as the TSRS, Burley Product Super Cup in the Pacific Northwest, Tri-C Karting Challenge, plenty of regional stuff we do just outside of the Midwest here at Indy and MCC, as well as KC Kids for Mini, Micro Swift. Pretty much any event below the juniors we'll cover. Even the juniors, I think, we'll technically cover. But KC Kids, KC, your follow feed. 2.5 minutes to go. Evan McCorkadale to the point with a 48.186.015 over Nick Denny, a new name we have not seen so far today, Brad.
We have not seen Denny here today in that number 24 plated Kart. Not actually showing in the score sheets here. So it looks like first time out in 206 medium. Always fun to see more drivers jump in here going through. I do believe that Denny is not a novice to the sport. I'll double check myself, but I know that name is familiar from somewhere, and I just can't place it on my tongue right off the top of the head. No offense to Nick Denny, of course. So one of those that I know I should recognize, but for some reason, it's been a long day. So I'm just trying to place it. I've had lunch, had stir fry for lunch. So I can't put two and two together.
Everyone trying to make the most out of this freight train running right now, trying to get a number plate to see who's out in front. But Levi Wilbur now gains 2 positions to get to the point of 47.679. A little bit of a reshuffle around the outside. One guy getting around the blue helmet of Corkadell. About 2 laps to go here when this is all done and dusted. Wilbur stays out in front. Nick Denny drops 2 positions as Derek Kutshaw and Nick Knotzman find a little bit of pace as well. No fastest lap that time by, but this is about what we expected for qualifying in these 206 powered karts, maximizing that draft and having a guy in front of you or two punch a hole in the air for you. Looks like we got a little bit of a reshuffle, or at least a thought of a reshuffle, as we work through the tower hairpin. And there it is, as one of the Burrells gets significantly offline. We're still staying in line. 30 seconds to go in qualifying. It'll be checkered flag after this lap. Any reshuffles at the line again? Wilbur still at the top for the time being, but Braden Haber with another fastest lap of the session does a 47.553, over a tenth up from Levi Wilbur and McCorkadale.
All right, I need to put respect on Nick Denny's name because now I feel really bad. I know I
Let's
knew
do
Nick
it.
Denny from somewhere. He's the owner of New Generation Motorsport based out of Indy, and he's the owner of Ghost Racing, a driver and someone who's been in the sport, definitely knows what's going on. And have we reminded them that this is qualifying, not the race? They don't need to send it into hairpins. Because this is going to be interesting. If this is how we're qualifying, you know that's a good sign for the race, right? Like,
Oh, yeah.
do we remind them it's qualifying, or do we just let this kind of go for now?
I'll take on-track action where we get it. Field order remains the exact same, except at the tail end for that final lap. Reed Esslinger able to trump Andrew Goldman just at the line there for P8. But this whole field, very, very...
This whole field is going to be so competitive going through 206 senior medium qualifying. Done and dusted here. Coming up next on your day is we're going to shift gears a little bit and go to 206 juniors. Now, 206 juniors, this is the fun class because this is 12 to 15-year-olds. This is the equivalent of KA junior. Exact same weight, exact same run, except for instead of the KA IME engines, it is the 206 engines, which is going to be real exciting to watch here. A little bit different power band on them. You have to wind these engines up a little bit more. There is the rev limiter on them. Yeah, Jackson, this is going to be exciting, and there's going to be a lot of names in here that, well, if you watch this morning, you should recognize going through. Jordan LePen, Lucian Laser, Nolan Wade, Maximus Stewart. I don't remember seeing Maximus this morning. Gigi Siva Kumar, Max and Cleve, Gio Nelson, Emmett King out on track. So plenty of fast karts. Parker Dunn, Nico Santos is out and about. This is going to be a fun one to watch. Karts coming around here, continuing to run their way down, and already we can see what 206 is going to be the king of. It's going to be the draft. It's going to be the follow. A lot of hairpin battles here as we see one kart running very wide here, going through and continuing along here as everyone continues to try to shuffle and find position, find a drafting buddy, find some way for qualifying to run through. We're already approaching half qualifying time here, as qualifying 5 minutes long, and we're already 2 minutes 40 seconds to go, and times are shuffling all the way through. And it's no surprise Laser LePen top two here, because in the points it's 13:48. Jordan LePen, Lucian Laser 12:97. Parker Dunn in that number 7 plated kart is at 12:60, and Nolan Wade is at 12:02. And all of a sudden Nico Santos puts his name into the mix here. Nico Santos P5 in the points and jumps up into the 206 junior category as he goes along. Let's see where this can go through. Dunn, Laser, LePen, Wade, Siva Kumar, Seward, Klebe, King, Nelson. The 10 karts currently out on track, and it looks like Nelson has not gotten a competitive time in, unfortunately. 132.4, the only time for Gio Nelson that has been put down here. Times continue to shuffle, though, between Santos, LePen, and Laser. So where we stand right now, Lucian Laser, 48.882, 48.891. Jordan LePen, and you know, this is one of those that it's very back and forth. You've just got to be able to put the times in. However, when you've only got 2 karts in the 48.8s and you have the next kart being a 49 flat, that is a very, very competitive time here as we go through. Jackson, I got to ask, 206 Junior, how much will the elbows be out?
You got to imagine at least a little bit early on here. I think we see so many guys understand how important it is to get to the point, just because we see the chop of the field, how quickly guys can break away at the start during aggressive moves, especially just with how inspiring, shall we say, this first complex of corners is. So getting on the right foot forward early is going to be absolutely.
I think what's going to be really exciting for the Heat is just kind of the idea of how these 206s wind up on that race start. That's, for me, the section that I'm really looking forward to. If that race start into that double hairpin goes well, I think it's going to just spell for a wonderful, wonderful race here. 1 second left to go in qualifying. Checkered flag out on qualifying now. So this is going to be what really sets runs. This is the final lap here, and everybody's been improving lap after lap. So this is going to be the moment where we need to see more times come in. It looks like Gio Nelson has crossed the line and finished out, will not put in another time, and will be down at the bottom of the board. Not the best qualifying for Gio Nelson, but I do think Gio will have a bit more to give here in the race. Checkered flag continues to fly. Next kart to come across the line. Let's see here. That is Lucian Laser and Jordan LePen, who finished just right as they are. Maximus Stewart is through. Dunn, Santos, Wade, Siva Kumar, Cleve, and Emmett King. Gio Nelson again in 10th place. So all karts across the line here. 206 Junior, the way you see them, that's the way they'll line up for their 5-minute heat here shortly. Coming up next, it is going to be the 206 Legends and Supermasters. And well, if 206 Masters was offended earlier by being called the crazy old guys, I hate to tell you, when you look at the age for the Legends and Supermasters, it's pretty interesting. And here they roll. 206 Legends, 206 Supermasters. And you know what, Jackson? I'm going to let you.
Ages 50 and up with a weight limit of 375. Both these classes with a weight limit of 375. The 206 Supermasters, one of the oldest divisions you see out here in the Midwest, in age limit of 60 and up. So this is the true crazy old men who are going at it, and it's 11 karts deep for our round 9 meeting. Going to be a really, really good show if the Masters showed us anything earlier on.
And here's what's really interesting about the Legends and Supermasters. Look at the names. Look at the names. How many of these last names up on this timing tower do you recognize from other classes? The answer should be a majority, if not all of them. Brian Williams, McLaughlin, Wilbur, Cutshaw, Stevens, Whitaker, Bullock, LeMasters. I mean, yeah, you should recognize most of these names. And this is, again, this is where grassroots for me gets its love. This is where I genuinely love the grassroots coverage that we give here at Kart Chaser and those regional events that we get here. Because this is where you're reminded that karting is a family affair, and family is what makes karting for me. So because you have literally, when you look at our class list, right? 7 to 10-year-old is 206 cadet and micro Swift, all the way up to Super Masters, which is 60 and older. So think about that. On a Saturday, you could see grandchild, parent, grandparent, all together, along with siblings, along with cousins, like all of that together on track. And that is where I love this. But this class specifically, I really like it because they've still got it. They have still got it, even at the 50 plus, 60 plus age range. They still have it, and they show it every time they come out because they race just as hard as 206 Sportsman and 206 Cadet.
Absolutely. Quick look at your 206 Legends standings right now. J. Brian Williams, really, really dominant right now in the Legends division, with over half a second up right now from William McLaughlin. So again, multi-class in play here, as we've got two different age groups, two similar karts, but two different age groups. Going to be very, very interesting to see how that's going to be in play with these championship points and as we get closer to the end of the 2025 season.
I definitely think it's going to be an exciting one to watch here as we go, because this is going to be one of those runs that it really shows who's got it, who doesn't, and who can just find it here. It's amazing to see J. Brian Williams has not missed a week, and out of all of the rounds, his drop rounds, one of his drops is a win. So that is pretty crazy to see. I don't know if you caught that, but round 6, heat win was dropped. So when you look at the points, that's pretty wild to see. When you're doing that well, that one of your drop weeks is a heat win, you've done something quite right.
Been a very, very long string of dominance we've seen from JBW. We're going to see if he's able to continue that. 30 seconds to go here in qualifying. A lot of these guys going to get one more shot as they come to the line. No improvement for Brian Williams at the line. William McLaughlin comes to the stripe. He will just barely hold off Danny Cutshaw, but that battle for the front row is getting a little bit spicy. Travis Wilbur with some significant gains as well. Gets that 7-12 Legend Kart up into P4. So with the checkered flag coming out right now, it is now or never. And you've got a Legend, 2 Masters, 2 Super Masters, 2 Legends, and then all Super Masters all the way back. So the Legends here doing all they can to get onto the same piece of real estate for the race.
Tom Stevens, then Joseph Stevens. Let's make that clarification. Donald Ball, Wesley Bullock, Richard Lemasters, and Chris Whitaker, the 11 karts here in Legends and Super Masters. Coming up next, let's go ahead and release the beast of KA Senior, KA Masters. Now, that's the last qualifying session we'll have here on the free coverage. After this, we will go behind the paywall. But if you're a Kart Chaser Premium member for $9.99 a month, you can see everything live as it happens this afternoon. Be sure to join on YouTube there. If you're on an Apple device, just make sure you jump to your PC. Apple adds on a $3 tax, which we don't see anything of, we don't benefit from. That's just Apple being Apple. With that being said, K Senior KA Masters are out for the final qualifying session of this afternoon's coverage, and this is going to be a fun one.
KA Senior ages 15 and up. KA Masters ages 30 and up. Seniors about 20 pounds lighter than the Masters, but a very good mix of size, skill, and age range. This is going to be one of the more interesting classes we have out on track. Quick look at your championship standings here as we head in. And for the seniors, it's AJ Lund out in front with a 100-point lead. 1464 over Dane Van Dyke with 1346. Ryder Santos in third at 1318. And Macy Galan at 1248. Over to Masters. And it is been a little bit of a slower showing. Joshua Nelson out in front. just over Kevin Simonellik, one of the lower counts further back. And as we expected here, very senior heavy Masters light field, but still a good variety here.
Yeah, this is going to be a good variety to see. I'm excited to really see how the seniors and masters uh, kind of mesh together, what the times are going to look like, where things are going to go as they continue to run through. Heading down towards Daytona now, we have a few carts going through, and look at the helmet tuck there, going down the backstretch, trying to find the time here in the KA carts here in the IME engines. And as they go, let's see who can find what times initially. AJ Lund, 42.708 to kick things off. Lane Gibbs, 43.259 going through. Raider Santos, Macy Gallion, Abraham Dean, Dane Van Dyke going through. Elliot Cox, Kevin Simonelik, and Joshua Nelson. The 9 carts that are currently showing on track.
AJ Lund with 3, 4, 5 wins so far. Dane Van Dyke, one of those other winners to break the chains. Austin Olds, a name very familiar to anyone in the karting scene, also stepping in round 3. Had a phenomenal battle with Lane Gibbs and Ryder Santos in round 3. But a very well varied cast here of drivers, and we've seen a lot of them on the podium. AJ Lund looking to continue that dominance right now, but Raider Santos is right with him. 0.172 the gap right now of 42.708. The time for your leader, AJ Lund, but still plenty of time. And I'll tell you what, starting to get a little bit cooler on track now because clouds that we saw in the sky have slowly began to roll in. Now, we don't know how long that cover will allow, but that allows the track temp to cool down, and that allows the times to potentially go down as well.
Yeah, that slightly cooler weather, that little bit of wind that's picked up here is going to make things very, very exciting as we go along and continue through the day. We'll see if it sticks around. It'd be pretty nice if it would, and I'm sure none of the drivers would complain a bit. Again, temperature there is just hovering just below 70 degrees and 68 degrees with a real feel of about 72. Just a picture perfect afternoon for some karting here. Coming through, 60 seconds left to go. Times continuing to improve for every single kart, but AJ Lund, I mean, just a league in his own there. 49 or 42.3 to a 42.9. Currently, the gap between Lund and Santos sits at half a second, and that is impressive. I don't know how you find half a second in a 42-second lap, but tell you what, that is amazing. But I'm going to circle back to my point from earlier. It's not all about the ultimate pace here, or it's all about ultimate pace in qualifying, but that doesn't always guarantee you a race win.
Well, just further back, somehow Lane Gibbs is separated by just 1,000th of a second to Raider Santos. Lane Gibbs doesn't need a ton of improvement there to try and work himself into the front row. There was no change between those two, as we'll see the checkered flag this time by. So Raider Santos trying to close that gap to AJ Lund, and if anything, give himself a little bit of insurance over Lane Gibbs. But if that lap isn't improved, all Lane needs is 2,000ths in this lap, and he'll be on the front row. Doesn't need too much. Dan Van Dyke about 2/10 back, with Macy Gallant also in the mix as well. This whole field all the way up to P7 within a second of one another. So it's getting tight. No improvement for Raider Santos. And just at the line, Lane Gibbs, no improvement either. Dane Van Dyke trumps them both, though, with a 42.958 and works his way into the front row. But again, AJ Lund with a phenomenal run. Still a quarter green here for the KA seniors. First heat in just a couple minutes time.
Yeah, and once we get through to that KA Senior Master Heat, this is going to be exciting to go through. But, ladies and gentlemen, this is where the free coverage for the afternoon ends. Qualifying is done. We're going to take a brief break, and when we come back, we'll be behind the paywall with our Kart Chaser Premium members, and we're going to take you all the actions for the heats and the finals. So if you're a Kart Chaser Premium member, don't go anywhere. If you're not, consider joining so you can catch all the action live. But on behalf of Jackson, everyone here, I'm Brad. We'll be back here just momentarily.
Kyle, what are you doing?
It's got my new Greyhound seat.
You don't even have a cart.
Doesn't matter. I have a Greyhound.
Who the f is Kyle Cuthbertson? Doesn't even have a go-kart.
Doesn't matter.
Cuthbertson through on Turney. Turney in the dirt.
Cat food marketing. $9.99 a month.
Dude, Caleb, wake up. Dude, we're live in 5 minutes. Let's go. Come on. What are you doing?
Dude, I'm so sorry. Xander had me in a cat food marketing meeting till like 2 a.m. last night.
Come on, man.
Do you have anything I can drink?
Dude, I got the perfect thing for you. Perico. It's a healthy energy drink alternative.
Perico, non-GMO, gluten-free, kosher, magnesium, B12, B6,
Yeah, it's good.
B5, biotin, and zero sugar? Pericazo! Try Perico, made with natural ingredients, organic caffeine, and supports your metabolism. Try.
Are you stuck with your kart racing? Not sure the ideal kart setup? Or going to a track for the first time? Well, Kart Class has the answers for you. Our online portal has a wealth of experience and knowledge to help your kart racing. From kart setup advice to track guides that are targeted specifically to your circuit, or the driver coaching aspect with mindset, racecraft and driving techniques. If you want to take your karting to the next level, visit us at kartclass.com.
Hey guys, it's Lucas Nogueira.